Hello there, you caught me off hand there. I was talking to Bragi off camera. Hello, Bragi.
Hello. I'm invisible.
Well, he's not invisible, trust me. Today, I'm going to talk to you about burials. Burials in the Saxon times. And wasn't always a burial. Now, it obviously depended who you were. But we'll talk about high status graves. The Saxons used to take over old-fashioned Neolithic sites. Most notable one, of course, is Sutton Hoo. If you imagine a layer cake, underneath you have the Neolithic level, and on top of that you've got the Anglo-Saxon levels. So they would ritually cleanse the land beforehand. Again, at Sutton Hoo we have the guy called the leaper. And what it is, it's a figure of a man leaping over a broken plough. An interesting thing about Sutton Hoo, the soil is so acidic that organic material is dissolved. But what you're left with is a three-dimensional shape of a person on a sandy background. And I think, it's only my opinion, give it a couple of million years and you've got yourself a fossil of a human being. There's that, there's also cremation, and we learnt an awful lot about Saxon rites from, of all things, Beowulf. And he talks about a man leaving the house of bone, being burnt, and warriors riding round the mound. But death is dealt with in a very different way. You had burial goods, although, interesting fact, burial goods are still legal. In America you get people buried in their Cadillac, things like that, and you get buried with articles. A friend of mine died many years ago now, and I flipped in a reproduction Viking silver penny. Somebody else put a hammer of Thor in there. There was a can of beer in there, and that's in today, so don't be fooled. When they say there's grave goods, oh it must be pagan, that's not the truth. St Cuthbert himself had another skull in there and about 5 or 6 different silver bowls. Bishops today are buried in full regalia with their mitre and the crook. So, various practices. We've also found bodies which are face down. They call them witches' graves, but they were probably pagans or rune casters. Criminals are buried and you see their neck bent like that. You see all that at Sutton Hoo. Another very important thing to do with any agricultural society, of course, is harvest time. Harvest is where you get your food in, and that's going to last you through the year with a bit to spare so that you can trade. And this story I'm going to tell you about, I know I'd get there in the end, is about a family of farmers. The harvest had to be gathered in. It was magnificent this year. The corn stood high and promised great bounty. The grass ready for straw was just right. The weather was just right. Right lads, said the farmer, you two, I want you out in that field today and I'll be with you. We've got to harvest this stuff. I don't care what happens, we've got to harvest it. Alright, yes Dad, yes Daddy. No mind Daddy, get on with it. So they got the scythe and they sharpened it with the whetstone. Ah, that's looking good there. Thank you Father. Yeah, get on with it. And you show us how to do it then Dad. So they took a mighty swing and the straw began to fall neatly. All of a sudden, he clutched his chest, fell face down. What's up with him? I don't know, best go and check him. He's dead. Some people would do out to get out of work, wouldn't they? He'd done 3 goes and he's dead. Oh, come on, man. Stick him in the barn. We've got to get this in, otherwise we'll be in trouble. Yeah, alright. You get the legs, I'll get the arms. And they carried Daddy into the barn. And they carried on all day. About lunchtime they stopped. I tell you what, what's up? Dad, he's going to start niffing in a bit, you know. I know what you mean. And then of course the rats will have a go at him and he's going to get flies like you wouldn't believe. What are we going to do? Yeah, let's have a think. I know. You know that big tub of salt we've got in the barn we'll end him up against? Yeah. We'll salt him up. Do you think that's kind of... Look mate, we've got to get that harvest in. You know, that's what Dad would have wanted. Oh, you old sentimentalist. Yeah, alright. Come on, give me a hand. And so it is. They laid out the body, they put salt up his nose, they put salt in his ears, salt where you don't want to know, and down the front of his trousers. Well, that'll hold him for a bit, I reckon. What do you think? I suppose so. We best get back. There's all that corn to do. Yeah, okay. And they started with the sign. And as they were going along, Raggy's having fun in the background, and as they were going along, they brought the harvest in successfully. Right then, what are we going to do about Dad now? Let's take him down to the man of God. What, you mean yeah, I suppose so. We're going to put him on a cart. Nah, I don't fancy hitching a horse up. And they carried this body, which was covered in salt, all the way down to the vicarage. The vicar, no, the holy man, looked at him. What have you got there? It's me Dad. I could see that. He's dead. I could see that. What are we going to do with him? Oh, either bury him or burn him. What do you reckon? What's cheapest? Oh, great. I tell you what, we'll cremate him. That way we can get rid of him quicker because he's beginning to stink a bit. Oh, all right then. And so it was. The farmer was put on a pyre and burned, and the flames went higher and higher. See, I'm a poet. And that's how they disposed of him. But the lesson of all this is the harvest must be brought in at all costs. The dead are dead, and they move on to wherever they move on. The living need looking after, and the harvest has to come first. So on that merry note, I'll leave it to you till we meet again. Have fun. Oh, don't forget to subscribe. I nearly got told off then. Bye.